Manos, thank you so much for interviewing with me today. You've had a crazy schedule here in Los Angeles, and there's a lot to talk about because you're doing many different things.
Quite a lot.
Yes, so we'll start with Swing Away, because of course that's how I connected with you, doing an interview with Michael Nichols, and then connecting with the movie and everything. Can you share a little bit about how you got involved with Swing Away and the movie
This
itself?
project came to me maybe 3 years ago, maybe more, when the producer of the film and creator, George Stephanopoulos, came to me in New York, and he says, he told me I'm doing this project and I would love you to be part of it. So I read the script. It was a great story. Of course, it had to do with Greece, which is my country where I come from. So that would be an extra reason. And so we stayed in contact, we stayed in touch. Of course, like any other project, it went through difficult times. It was about to be greenlit, then it wasn't. So finally, and thankfully, it went through, and we shot it last March, May, in Rhode Island, in Greece, and a small part in New York and New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Romantic comedy, but with a lot of feeling to it. A lot of message, sweet family movie.
Okay.
I mean, the material I've seen so far, it's really solid and nice and touching.
Good, okay. And so was that in between filming Brusco?
No, actually Brusco, I got the call for Brusco the last day, the day we were wrapping Swing Away. So Andreas Georgiou, who's the director and the lead in Brusco, he called me literally the last day of shooting. He said, Manos, are you planning to spend some time in Greece this year? I told him actually that is a plan. I miss Greece. I want to be kind of half-based in Athens. So he said, what about this? He told me the story. I knew the show was very successfully ran for 2 seasons already. So I took a week to think about it. I talked to my manager in London and my representation here. And, combining that, I can go there and they group my scenes. So I shoot for 2-3 days in Cyprus, then I can go, then a couple of weeks later. So it made sense, and I wanted to do something because I hadn't done Greek TV in like 8 years.
Okay.
So it was a good opportunity. Plus, this show is so successful, and it airs in like 10 or 12 more countries. So and it's a great experience. I love it. It's nice to be again with Greek actors acting in your native language.
Sure.
So I really enjoy it.
And is it a larger ensemble? Is it a fairly large?
Yeah, it's like a large ensemble, and that is one of the main reasons I can do it, because it was like 5 main actors that all the stories around them. That would require me to be there, what we call full-time, or like every week. But having a larger ensemble gives the opportunity to the production to group my scenes and other actors' scenes, so I can go shoot for a few days and then get out and then go back as it needed.
Which works nice with a schedule like yours, because you're
I give them my schedule with my travels. I said I called the production. I said I have to be in New York from the 10th to the 25th. So now I'm in LA. I'm going back like end of the month. I'm going to shoot for a little while, and then I'm going back to New York. So it's working really, really well, actually.
Good. So let's talk about the books, because you just finished the 3rd in the series, right?
Well, I hope that sounded really nice. Actually, I'm working on the 3rd. But exactly because of this crazy schedule that I have, it's really, writing a book, it's a great pleasure and joy, but you have to be able to, in a certain period of time, to be in one place and have your head in one thing. So when I wrote the first one, I actually wrote it here in Los Angeles, in Beverly Hills. I was going to Starbucks in a Starbucks again. It's funny. It inspires me going to cafe places, because like I get the buzz and like being in a totally silent place, somewhere very quiet. Sometimes it works, sometimes not. Like the weirdness of being able to concentrate in a noisy place around all these noises. You find your own voice there. So I wrote it there in 2 months actually, but I was going every day from 5 to 1. They were closing at 1 a.m. So I would go there 5 o'clock. I would have like 3 coffees, whatever. And then I would write. So I started August 1st. I finished October 5th. I delivered to my publishing company, including the second one I wrote part here, part in Australia, and part in Crete.
Okay.
The third one, I travel so much right now, which is impossible to I move all the time. So my plan is I have a few more trips, New York, Jamaica, and Cyprus, and then when I go back to Crete before my next trip to the US, which is going to be mid-March, I'm planning to go to Crete, my mom's house, and sit there for a month, whatever, it's like maybe 6 weeks.
Right.
And write. Because there it's also easier for me. You know, my mom makes me breakfast, then I go write for 5 hours. What time you want to have your lunch ready, honey? You know, pampering.
I can't tell you how many times in interviews I've done I've mentioned the loveliness of Greek moms.
Oh.
Seriously, when I went to visit a friend there, his mom, of course, cooked for me every night. At the end, I said, I want to bring her, I want to pack her in my suitcase and bring her back.
Yes.
Lovely.
My mom is a typical sweet, nice, warming Greek, Cretan mother. I adore her. She's my idol. So, yeah. So
what inspired you with the books? To write a children's book and also...
I can't give you a reason. It was just more like a need that I had to communicate. You know, I hadn't even done theater for kids. I produced Little Prince 4 years ago for international festival, the kids theater. That was a good experience. A mature play. I didn't confront it as I didn't deal with it as a play for kids, but a normal play. But with the books, I just felt like I have this admiration for kids, anywhere from the age of 5, 6, 7 and on, especially when they start developing and have their own voice. We go 8, 9, 10, 11. Just amazing what they come. And it's that raw material, the unfiltered raw creativity material that they absorb anything and how different their mechanisms work. And they come out with lines and honestly, when I sit down with them, I have a nephew, I have 3 nieces, and when now they're a bit older, that they turn 13, 14. My youngest is I think 11 now. But when I go and I sit down with them or other kids, my friends' kids, I don't talk to them as, how we talk to young kids.
Sure, yeah.
I take them really seriously, and I'm very focused to what I'm going to say.
Right.
And I feel that I'm talking to a mature person.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're even smarter. I hear smarter things that I hear from adults.
Yes.
So that area I wanted to explore.
Right.
And I wanted to give a voice to all these kids through my hero Fistikios, which is exactly that. Fistikios doubts even that the earth is round. He says, he can doubt everything, and he brings older people, his teacher, his dad, his mom, in a weird situation, in a difficult situation, because sometimes they tell him you shouldn't make mistakes. I say, why? Because you can be hurt. And he said, why you do mistakes? Why you make mistakes? You're old and you make mistakes. So how you want me not to make mistakes? And then they're like, okay, but making mistakes in one sense makes sense because you learn from them.
Right.
So why you tell me how I'm going to learn from them?
Yeah.
I'm going to find them ready. Why didn't you find them ready from your dad if you had to make mistakes?
Right.
And then he says maybe it's more wise to teach me the best way to make mistakes instead of telling me not to make mistakes.
Right.
He has his own voice. It's really interesting.
And great lessons in there.
Great lessons, and that's why I think he was so successful because he combines he's extremely funny and he's it's adventurous. And I use Greek mythology in a way and twist it, and it's very educational, but also has a good meaning for every age, I guess.
Sure.
And that's why, like, you go to bookstores in Greece and Cyprus, and some bookstores have it under the section young adults, some other have it under the section kids, books for
Okay.
kids. It was nominated for an award for best young adult, and then I was nominated for EB International Award as a best writer for kids under 12 years old. So,
Okay.
so you see that the range
Yeah.
is large in this book, which is, I think, is interesting.
So that kind of leads me to talking a little bit about your diversity. Your creative talents aren't just with one thing. You're obviously creative in many different ways.
Yeah.
And I feel, some people are like, you should just focus on one
That's
area.
what I wanted to do.
Right. And I don't know. I feel like people can be incredibly creative and talented and successful in many different avenues.
I've said that recently in Greece. I fought myself because I thought this is a really bad thing. Since I was young, I wanted to do one thing and be the best at it.
Yeah.
I thought that's the only way. And then I became a musician. I started as a musician, and then I was a guitarist. And then I started playing percussion. And then I touched the piano. And then I started composing music. And then when I went to then I wanted to be in the acting school. So I auditioned for the National Theatre School. So I got in, and then once I went to the National Theatre School, I started like dealing with dance, and I started choreographing, exploring that kind of form of art.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God, I'm never gonna be. And then I came to the States and started doing producing. I studied production, and I started hating myself more and more. I would do tap dance, and I would do African jazz in Albania. I was so curious about everything else other than what I was doing, that I was just adding things in my list. And I was trying to stop myself. Like, I came for acting, and all of a sudden, within 6 months, I had a full recording studio in my house. And I didn't have time to record anything.
Right.
And before I knew it, I moved to LA and started producing. I got involved in The Butler, and I'm like, okay, so you're part producer, mainly actor that can dance and play instruments, so that's fine. So I was trying to seize everything down and just give a title.
Sure.
And then before I knew it, I started writing books for kids,
Right.
and then investing in restaurants. So I'm like, okay, that's it. There's no survival here.
It's unlimited.
You got to deal with this. But what happened, the minute I accepted my nature,
Yes.
then all the doors opened immediately,
Right.
in an amazing way.
Yeah.
That I cannot describe you. And even though all these things sound so different between them, in a also very weird way, they just make so much sense. So one connects to the other, one feeds the other, and I'm going for one thing and I leave with two more things, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. What is the lesson? Accept your nature, embrace your whatever is that, and be the best. It can be a multi-thing. It's
Right.
not a bad thing. I thought it was a really bad thing.
Right.
And it's fine.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think when people embrace the fact that they have many talents, and to follow those, and not feel like
I thought it was bad, but it's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine. And I told you, like, I'm always curious. I'm very curious as a person. Like, I will sit down with. I love success stories. I will sit down with people that, in any field, it doesn't have to be in art. It can be business.
Sure.
I'm very curious. Like, how did you do this? How did you start it? Oh my God! Like, you became who you are. Like, what was the first thing that initiated this thing? It just amazes me.
Right.
Amazes me.
So let's talk about, just because you had mentioned it briefly, so the restaurant, right now we have, you're in Mykonos,
Yes.
correct? And you're thinking about branching out. Can you
We
share a
have
little
two
bit?
in Athens,
you
one
do?
in Kolonaiki Square, my partners,
Oh,
they
perfect.
started them first, and one in Kifiskia, and then we opened, I joined them, and we opened one in Mykonos.
Okay.
Now we open a new business in Mykonos. It will be more like a club this summer. And hopefully, if not this summer, next summer we're going to open a new one in Mykonos as well.
Oh, wow.
And at the same time, we're out now in the States. We had a tour in New York, Miami, and Los Angeles. So we did 3 events with top-notch journalists, food bloggers, and travel journalists from the States. And we are branding a new kind of line based on what we have in Mykonos, a Mediterranean island organic cuisine.
Okay.
So it's going to be a restaurant. It's going to be called Mykonos by Nice and Easy.
Oh, okay.
So we're looking locations.
So a little bit longer than just Nice and Easy, because Nice
well,
and Easy is...
the main Nice and Easy is in Greece, makes more sense here. It's going to be Mykonos,
Yes.
and then by Nice and Easy, meaning like the team of Nice and Easy.
Nice, okay.
So then we connect the brands from Mykonos because, as you know, it's an international destination.
Right.
So then people that come enjoying the food there or in Athens, we have many tourists in Athens anyway, can find hopefully this restaurant in LA, later in New York or Miami. Or
Right. Okay.
yeah.
And you got involved with them. How long ago has that been?
We started last year.
Okay.
Last year, yeah. But I knew the people. I'm very good friends with them for 8 years. One of my partners in the meetings used to run places here for 25 years.
Oh, okay.
So he had a sanctuary, a really successful restaurant club here, and he was a partner with mega Hollywood stars. So he's very, very professional. And my other partner, he's the chef, so he knows the business from his side.
Sure.
So but most of all, I have trust. Like they're people that I feel safer to give them my cash to save for me than put it in the bank.
Sure.
If that
Wow.
says you something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That says a lot about those personal relationships, business relationships.
Yes, they're amazing people. I'm very lucky. So, and we have an amazing team. Two more people involved. My partner from New York. So I think we can do well. We'll see.
That's great.
We'll see. Yeah.
So what's coming up for you that you can talk about?
Yeah. There are a few things. Actually, as I told you, I'm planning to finish my third book and be published by spring if I can make it on time. I'm doing tours in the States, in Chicago for my books, for my first two books, in schools, in events that they teach the Greek language. I did one in November, was very successful, so I have to come back in March. And I'm going to New York, Chicago, Washington DC, then Canada in the end of March. And right now I'm in contact and putting together meetings. I've just finished the translation of my first book in English.
That's what I was going to ask.
So I'm reaching out to people. There's very good interest, so that's really nice. To start publishing the books in English
That
in
would
the
be
States
great.
and Canada to begin with, and then because I believe that Fistikis has an international voice, and the fact that the story is set in ancient Greece, and we know what ancient Greece meant until this day, and how people relate to what happened there. And first of all, democracy and about the free speech and all that. So I think that makes it very universal and very contemporary.
Sure.
And for the kids who read it, they feel they read something today.
Yeah.
Even though it takes place then.
Well, I was going to ask about translation because right now I'm reading my son who's 8. I'm reading him Greek mythology. Of course, it's a children's version.
Yeah, that's fine.
But he loves it. I mean, it's,
They all love it. If you see in China, in many countries, in Asia,
so
they
it's
love
good to
Greek
hear
mythology.
that,
So, but it's the way I use it. Like I twist the myths. I make them very contemporary, so the kids entertain themselves by learning. Without that, I'm pointing the finger to learn this information.
Right.
So I will take a famous myth. I will make my own version, and in the end of the book, there's an index that tells exactly what happened.
Right.
So the kid,
nice.
That's why I took the name out of this.
Right.
So that's what happens.
Okay.
And I've been told that, to be honest, I didn't make any research, but from people who read it, they told me that the reason they believe that it has an international voice and it makes sense to go overseas is that they can't find a similar hero available out there, like an original 8-9-year-old kid in ancient Greece with the problems of a kid of today, dealing with situations back then that they sound so today.
Right, exactly, yeah. So you're going to be finishing the book.
Finishing the book, then I'm shooting another film in English. It shoots in New York. We start shooting April 18th.
Okay.
It's called You Only Live Once. It's a dramedy. Okay. It involves a story of 4 women. They're patients of breast cancer, so they meet in a New York hospital where they get treatment and their lives get connected. I'm the boyfriend of one of the women. I play a kite surfer from Los Angeles. So that's one film. Then I'm attached to another film in Italy. I'm not sure if it's going to shoot this summer. And then I'm also putting together a film that I wrote many years ago, and a very well-known and good director rewrote recently. That's why I'm here mainly right now in Los Angeles. Okay. And we're trying to start production in June in Puerto Rico. It's a romantic comedy with a very well-known producer here in Hollywood. So hopefully we make it on time.
So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.